The past tense for regular verbs in Spanish follows the same idea for the present tense, which I covered in one of my previous videos, but in this video, I will only explain the past tense for regular AR, ER, and IR verbs in Spanish, also known as the preterite or past simple tense. Just like with the present tense in Spanish, the past tense follows the same idea of dropping off the ending of the AR, ER, or IR verb, and then adding the ending that corresponds with the pronoun. Let's start with regular AR verbs. For the yo pronoun, you drop the ending of the verb and then add the ending e with an accent, meaning that you'd always have an emphasis on that vowel when you say the conjugated verb. For tú, you drop the ending and then add the ending aste. For él or usted, you drop the ending and add the ending o with an accent, meaning that you likewise put an emphasis on that vowel. For nosotros, you put amos, and it's actually the same ending for the pronoun that you have in the present tense, and so you can only tell the difference between them in context. For vosotros, you put asteis, and for ellos, you put aron. Let's use the verb hablar as an example. How would you conjugate hablar for the yo pronoun? You take hablar, drop the ending, and add the ending e with an accent, and so it's pronounced yo hablé, I spoke. It's not yo hable, it's yo hablé. For tú, you drop the ending and add the ending aste, so you get hablaste, meaning you spoke. For él or usted, you get habló with an emphasis on the last vowel. It's not hablo, it's habló. He or she spoke. For nosotros, you get hablamos, and it's pronounced the same way as in the present form, and so you can only tell the difference between them in context. For vosotros, you get hablasteis, which is you all spoke, and for ellos, you get hablaron, they spoke. As far as AR verbs go, I recommend that you memorize all of these endings except vosotros, because there is no pattern to follow with any of them, but the trickiest pronoun to use is nosotros, because the word hablamos can mean both we speak and we spoke. However, there is a way to tell the difference between them in context, and that is by looking for keywords that express time. For instance, if I say hablamos contigo ahora, I'm saying that we speak with you now, because the word ahora indicates that. However, if I have a sentence like hablamos con ellos ayer, the sentence would logically be we spoke with them yesterday, because ayer indicates yesterday, which is an action done in the past, and that's really as difficult as it gets. Now, there are verbs ending in ER and IR, and conveniently, unlike the present tense, which has a different conjugation pattern for each type of verb, Spanish decides to use the same syntax for the past tense of verbs ending in ER and IR. Both verbs that end in ER and IR share the same ending, which might develop an easier conjugation pattern to memorize. For the yo pronoun, you drop the ending of the verb ending in ER or IR, and you add the ending e with an emphasis on that vowel. For tú, you drop the ending and add the ending iste. For él or usted, you drop the ending and add the ending io with an emphasis on the o. For nosotros, you drop the ending and add the ending imos, which is actually the same ending as the ending of verbs ending in IR in the present tense. And once again, you can only tell the difference between them in context. And finally, for vosotros, you get isteis, and for ellos, you get hieron. Let's use the verbs comer and vivir as useful verbs. How would you conjugate the verb comer in the past tense for the yo pronoun? You take comer, drop the ending, and put y, and so you get yo comí, I ate. For tú, you get comiste, which is you ate. For él, you get comió, which is he ate. For vosotros, you get comimos, which is we ate. Vosotros comisteis, y'all ate, and ellos comieron, they ate. And now, you simply replicate the same idea with regular verbs ending in IR, like vivir. However, don't forget about the nosotros pronoun of IR verbs ending in imos, because they do share the same ending. If I say vivimos en Las Vegas ahora, I'm saying that we live in Las Vegas now, because ahora indicates that. However, if I say vivimos en Los Ángeles hace un año, I'm saying that we lived in Los Angeles a year ago, because hace un año is the construction that indicates that. So overall, you have to watch out for these things, because that's as difficult as it gets. And with regular verbs ending in ER and IR, I recommend just memorizing the pattern for all pronouns except vosotros, because it's the same in both types of verbs, and also because it's a pattern that you would see all the time whenever you study the past tense in Spanish. As I said in my video on how to conjugate verbs in Spanish in the present tense, there is no point in knowing every AR, ER, and IR verb out there, because you'll never use all of them. I decided to utilize useful verbs like hablar, comer, and vivir to demonstrate how regular verbs in Spanish work in the past tense. I could have extended the video by giving examples, but I chose not to because I believe that you can do so on your own, because knowing how the past or preterite tense works in Spanish is sufficient enough to understand how it can be used. As far as the past tense goes in Spanish, there are actually multiple variations of it, like the imperfect, past perfect, conditional, and conditional perfect, and all of these tenses are topics for future videos, so I decided to not overcomplicate the past tenses in Spanish by simply showing the regular past simple tense for regular AR, ER, and IR verbs verbs. And if you see any verb that's conjugated in the ways that I've shown in the video, that means that this verb is in the past simple tense. This has been the past tense for regular verbs in Spanish. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I made your learning just a bit simpler.